Hello and welcome to today's edition of Daf Yomi, doing Bekhorot, Mesechet Tractate Bekhorot, Daf 42 Amud B. Rabbi Shimon ben Yehuda comes to say, a tumtum is not of uncertain status, but rather a distinct entity and is not sacred at all. The Gemara responds, no, everyone agrees with regard to the statement that tumtum is a distinct entity, and there is a doubt, and there is no doubt that this is incorrect. Where there is a doubt is with regard to whether it is male or female. In addition, in the case where tumtum urinates from a place of the male sex organ, so what does that mean? Meitir mayim bimkom zachrus. If a firstborn animal is a tumtum and it is considered an animal whose status as a firstborn is uncertain, and its owner may eat it when it develops a blemish. This applies only if it urinates from the place where the female sex organ is found. If it urinates from the place of the male sex organ, it is considered an animal whose status as a firstborn is certain and must be given to a priest. Now, this halacha is according to the opinion of the rabbis, as explained by the Gemara. The Rambam maintains that even if it urinates from the place of the male sex organ, it's of uncertain and forbidden status, which is in accordance with the opinion of Rav Chisda, who does not differentiate between these cases. And that's in the Rambam Sefer Kabbalah, Hilchot Bekhorot 2.5, see the Keter Mishnah, and then Shulchan Aruch Yodeh in the 15.2. And everyone agrees that it is a male. When they disagree, it is in the case of a tumtum, the urination in place of the female sex organ. One says the rabbis hold that we are concerned that perhaps his male sex organ was inverted toward its female sex organ, therefore it is of an uncertain status. And one says Rabbi Shimon ben Yehuda holds we are not concerned about this possibility, rather it is definitely a female. And Rabbi Shimon ben Yehuda maintains in accordance with that which Rabbi Elazar ruled, with regard to a firstborn animal that urinates from the place where the female organ is found, it is non-sacred, as it is certainly a female. Rabbi Yochanan wondered about this ruling Rabbi Elazar. Who is the sage who is not concerned about the opinion of the first Tana in the Mishnah and about the opinion of Rabbi Shmuel, who maintain that the tumtum is a case of uncertainty? The Gemara asks, and then Rabbi Yochanan also say, who is this who is not concerned about the opinion of the latter rabbis in the Mishnah? The Chisda says this dispute refers to a hermaphrodite. In regard to tumtum, everyone agrees that it is an uncertain case. The Gemara explains that Rabbi Yochanan does not hold in accordance with the statement of Rav Chisda, rather he maintains that according to the latter rabbis, tumtum is a distinct entity. The Gemara asks, if Rabbi Yochanan does not hold in accordance with Rav Chisda, why did he wonder about Rabbi Elazar's ruling? Let him say that Rabbi Elazar said his opinion in accordance with the opinion of the latter rabbis. The answer is, this is indeed what he is saying. Who is the sage who leaves aside the opinion of the two sages? The first time is Rabbi Shmuel, and acts an opinion with one opinion, the latter rabbis. And Rabbi Elazar, in accordance with whose opinion does he hold? Well, answers that he holds in accordance with which Reish Lakish says. The sages said that the halachic status of a tumtum is an uncertain case, only with regard to a person. Since a male sex organ and a female sex organ are in one place, a man and a woman urinate from the same area of the body. Since that area is concealed, in the case of a tumtum, its status is uncertain. With regard to an animal, and no uncertainty whether it is male or female, as the genitals of a male and female are not found in the same place. Rather, if it urinates from the place of the male sex organ, it is male. If it urinates from the place of a female sex organ, it is a female. Rabbi Shaya objects to this, and let us be concerned that perhaps his male organ was turned around to the place of its female sex organ. Abai said to him, in accordance with whose opinion do you raise his objection? Is it in accordance with the opinion of Rabbi Meir, who is concerned about a minority of cases? Allah is not in accordance with the opinion of Rabbi Meir, and therefore one should follow the majority of animals to whom this does not occur. Rabbi Ba'avin and Rabbi Chanina Ba'avin both say, so who are these people? Rabbi Ba'avin and Rabbi Chanina Ba'avin with 4 generated Babylonian Amoraim. These two sages, who were possibly brothers, are mentioned together a number of times in the Babylonian Talmud. For instance, the Gemara relates and they studied Torah together from Rabbah, transmitted rulings of Halacha, and celebrated Purim together. In addition, they would often engage in discussion with Abaye. Their statements are cited and discussed by the sages of subsequent generations, such as Rav Ashi, Ravina, and Mayamah. So you may even say that Rav Shai's objection is according to the opinion of the rabbis, who are not concerned about a minority. The reason is that since this is the case, since in this case the animal has changed in that it is different from typical animals, as it is a tum-tum, perhaps it also changed with regard to the male sex organ being averted toward the female sex organ. If so, the sages disagree with regard to this principle. And those who say that since it has changed, it has changed. And those who say that the claim, and there are those who say that the claim that since it has changed is not accepted. We might suggest, let us say the question of whether an animal that has changed in one respect has changed in a different respect, or whether it has not changed, is subject to a dispute between the Tanaim. As is taught in the Braita, with regard to a tum-tum who betrothed a woman. What does that mean? Tum-tum she kidesh. If a tum-tum betrothed a woman or betrothed by a man, and uncertainty as to whether the betrothal is valid, and therefore a bill of divorce is required, as stated in the Braita. The Ravid writes that if a tum-tum was betrothed by a man, no bill of divorce is required. There's no Rambam Sefer Nashim Hilchot Yishud 4:11, Shulchan Aruch Even Ezra 44:5. So the woman the betrothed is considered betrothed due to uncertainty, but as a tum-tum might be a male, and similarly if the tum-tum was betrothed by a man, and the betrothed is deemed betrothed due to uncertainty, as a tum-tum might be a female. The Braita continues. And if the brother of the tum-tum died childless, and there is no brother who can perform the Levite marriage with the widow, the tum-tum performs chalitza, the cholates. He does not enter into a Levite marriage, as he cannot father children, which is the precondition of this marriage, as stated in Deuteronomy 25:6. And it shall be that the firstborn that she bears shall be established in the name of his dead brother, see Rashash and Yad David. What is the other footnote? A tum-tum may perform chalitza but not Levite marriage, and the state is uncertain. Rambam Sefer Noshim Hilchot Yibum Valis at 64 Shulchan Aruch Eben Ha'ezer 172:9. I.e., his brother's widow removes his shoe, as the tum-tum might be a male, and she would require chalitza to release him from the Levite bond. And if the tum-tum died, one of the brothers of the tum-tum performed the chalitza with the wife of the tum-tum, and the Levite marriage with the wife of the tum-tum. Vim meis chozlin the ishto or yabmin the ishto. They may perform Levite marriage with his wife, since in any event they are permitted to marry her. If the tum-tum was a male, will Levite marriage with her, and if the tum-tum was a female, he was never married to his supposed wife, and therefore she is like any other single woman. The halachot of Levite marriage and the chalitza appear in the Torah, Deuteronomy 25:5-10, and are articulated at length in Tractate Yevamot, which is devoted to this topic. In the context, if a man dies with no living descendants, his wife is obligated by Levite bond to marry her husband's brother. The brother must either marry her through Levite marriage or sever the bond by means of a ceremony chalitza. During the time that the Levite bond is intact, it is prohibited to marry a different man. And if she does so, she is committed an ongoing transgression as long as her marriage continues. In the case of a tum-tum in case the tum-tum was a male, and it is taught in another Braita, the wife of a tum-tum performs chalitza and does not enter into Levite marriage. With regard to these two Braita, the sages assumed that everyone held the contradiction of Rabbi Akiva, who says, and unuch, the condition is caused naturally. Service chama. In contrast to an Enoch whose condition is caused by a human, like who's castrated after birth, an Enoch whose condition is caused naturally, is one who suffers is one who suffers from defective sexual development, whether through a hereditary condition or one caused by hormonal dysfunction. Sometimes a glandular defect can be cured, either by itself or through a supplement of various hormones. One who is entirely lacking in sexual capacity from birth, does not perform chalitza and does not enter into Levite marriage. The purpose of the mitzvah of Levite marriage with the wife of a brother who died childless is raise children for the late brother who was not able to do so himself. Consequently, this mitzvah permits a generally forbidden relationship, that of a brother's wife even after his death, is applicable only in the case where the late brother was himself fit to father children. Likewise, the marriage may only be performed if the surviving brother can have children. The same applies to chalitza, as chalitza is performed only when there is a possibility of Levite marriage. According to Rabbi Akiva, there is a difference between an unuch whose condition is caused by a human, who was initially fit to have children, and the inner condition is not caused naturally, who was never able to father children, as indicated by physical signs. With regard to an inner whose condition is caused by a human, although he may not enter into Levite marriage, he must perform chalitza, where an inner condition is caused naturally to perform Levite marriage or chalitza. Similarly, his brothers do not perform Levite marriage or chalitza after his death. Rabbi Elazar maintains the opposite, that an inner whose condition is caused by a human cannot be cured. He does not perform chalitza, and chalitza is not performed by his wife. The inner whose condition is caused naturally does perform chalitza, and his brothers perform chalitza with his wife, as there is a possibility of a cure. See Yevamot 79b. The whose condition is caused naturally is not included in the mitzvah of chalitza and Levite marriage, as he is unable to father children and was never able to do so. And according to the opinion of Rabbi Akiva in the Mishnah Yevamot 79b, Rambam Sefer Nashim Hilchot Yibum Chalitza 6:1-2, Shulchan Aruch Ibn Ezra 72:1 with their sister-in-law, as he is not included in the mitzvah of Levite marriage. Likewise, if he died, his brothers do not perform chalitza with his wife, and they may not enter into Levite marriage with her, as she is forbidden to them as a brother's wife, who does not require Levite marriage. Based on this assumption, the Gemara suggests, what is it not that the two brothers disagree about this? That one who says that a tumtum performs chalitza, and one of the brothers performs chalitza with the wife of the tumtum, who enters into Levite marriage with the wife of the tumtum, holds that we do not say that since his tumtum has changed from the average person, we might have changed in that he is also in whose condition that caused naturally, and therefore the brothers will be prohibited from entering into Levite marriage with the wife. Rather, if the tumtum is a male, it is assumed that he is capable of fathering children, and consequently his wife requires Levite marriage. And the one who says that the wife of the tumtum performs chalitza and does not enter into Levite marriage maintains that we say that since this person has changed, the ability that he might be in inochid conditions caused naturally is considered, and therefore his wife may not enter into Levite marriage. The Gemara responds, no, everyone agrees that we say that since this person has changed, and there's a concern that he might be in inochid conditions caused naturally. Well, the difference between this ruling is that this brisa, which permits the wife of the tumtum to enter Levite marriage, is in accordance with the opinion of Rabbi Elazar. It is agreed with Rabbi Akiva and maintains that Levite marriage may be performed with the wife of the inner conditions caused naturally, and that brisa, which prohibits Levite marriage, is in accordance with the opinion of Rabbi Akiva, and that the brother of the inner conditions caused naturally did not enter Levite marriage with the wife of the tumtum. The Gemara. And who is the Tanu who holds in accordance with the opinion of Rabbi Akiva that the wife of the inner conditions caused naturally did not require Levite marriage, and yet he maintained that the wife of the tumtum must perform chalitza? If we say that it is Rabbi Yehuda, this cannot be, as his opinion, even if the genitals of the tumtum were revealed and it was found to be a male, he deems it like a definite inner whose conditions caused naturally, nevertheless not require chalitza at all. As we learn in the Mishnah Yevamot 81a, that Rabbi Yehuda says, with regard to tumtum who was torn open so that his genitals were exposed and was found to be a male, what's the footnote? Tumtum shenikla nimsa chazacha. If the skin covering a tumtum was torn open so that his genitals were exposed and he was found to be a male, he may perform either chalitza or Levite marriage as he is considered a male. This halacha is according to the opinion of the rabbis who disagree with Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Yossi. Others maintain that he too is considered an uncertain state, and the halacha is stringent in accordance with the opinion of Rabbi Yossi, son of Rabbi Yehuda, as nowhere is it explicitly stated that the rabbis disagree with him. When we say if Noshim Hilchot Yibum Chalitza 6:4 Shulchan Aruch Ibn Ezra 72:9, he must not perform chalitza because he treats like an inochid condition is caused naturally. This, just as this tumtum does not perform chalitza, so too his widow does not require chalitza. Rather, it is the opinion of Rabbi Yossi, son of Rabbi Yehuda, who maintains that if a tumtum was torn open and is found to be a male, he is considered as a matter of uncertainty to be an inochid condition caused naturally, and his wife requires chalitza. As it is told in a brayta of Rabbi Yossi, son of Rabbi Yehuda, says that tumtum does not perform chalitza with the wife of his late childless brother if there are other brothers to perform chalitza, as perhaps the skin covering his genitals will be torn open and he will be found to be in inochid conditions caused naturally, and the widow would not be released from the Levite bond by his chalitza. According to his opinion, it is not certain that tumtum will be found to be in inochid conditions caused naturally. With regard to the opinion of Rabbi Yossi, son of Rabbi Yehuda, the Gemara asks, why does the meaning of chalitza do only the possibility that he will be found to be in inochid conditions caused naturally? Is that to say that every tumtum whose skin was torn is found to be a male and not found to be a female? The Gemara explains that Rabbi Yossi and Rabbi Yehuda says the opinion of formulation of perhaps, which includes multiple uncertainties. A tumtum may not perform chalitza, as perhaps he he will be torn open and found to be a female. He will then certainly not perform chalitza. Alternatively, if he is found to be a male, he may also not perform chalitza, since perhaps he will be found to be in iniquitous conditions caused naturally. The Gemara asks, since both Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbi Yosef and Rabbi Yehuda agree that a Tumtum may not perform chalitza for his brother's wife, one practical difference between their opinion, Rava said, and that moved on to the next onward. Thank you for listening and have a great day. All the best. Bye.